Last week, Elon Musk made headlines by getting an approval for $1 trillion pay package. The world's wealthiest man getting paid even more. That is already wild, but here's the thing that is missing, because people were already upset and up in arms about this, but from all the stuff I saw, all the stuff I read, there was one question that was missing from the entire conversation. Why? Why Elon? Not just why is he getting paid more, that part I get. There is some justification as to why you would pay the CEO that has already made you money as an investor. That's fine. But why Elon? Because there is nothing that he has done that is special in context. Those two words are extremely important. Here's why. He is not the only founder, and he is not the only CEO who runs $1 trillion company. You've got Meta, you've got Nvidia, you've got Amazon. All of those are $1 trillion companies. Some of those have founders that are still running those companies, Meta being one of those, right? The others are $1 trillion companies currently. And those are just the ones that came off the top of my head, right? What makes this one so special? He did not invent EVs, but he did make them a lot more popular. Apple is $1 trillion company. They didn't invent the cell phone, but they made that more popular. So you see what I mean in terms of context? What is happening that is special here that makes him worth $1 trillion? But if I said, hey, Tim Cook, here's $1 trillion pay package, that would be crazy. You would do all types of analysis and say, hey, they don't make enough iPhones. You haven't invented anything crazy to be worth $1 trillion. Like, you see what's happening here if they came out and said, yeah, we're going to pay Tim Cook $1 trillion with stock and all this type of stuff. You would do a lot of math real quick and say, well, Apple Vision Pro didn't work, that you don't sell enough iPhones, nobody is watching Apple TV Plus. You would rattle off all the things that aren't working to say why this isn't worth it. But nobody did that for Elon Musk. Why? Right. Like, this is a conversation. This is something I'm thinking out loud as we're doing this. And I have some notes here as we're doing it, because there's something different happening here. And I'm not exactly sure as to why, because no other CEO is allowed the latitude in society to go and pay for a presidential candidate the way that Elon did. And no one is allowed to have a special government position in Doge the way he did and fail at it and break things the way that he did in such a public fashion and just go back to his day job and then go get paid after the fact, as if nothing happened, even though that did have a severe impact on hundreds of thousands of people. Imagine if you were a federal employee, you got your job cut by Elon Musk for no reason of your own. You were minding your own business, doing your job. You could have been great at your job. Doge comes in, he cuts your job, knows nothing about you or your job and how things work. And now you are in a very tough situation. Then the government shuts down, and it's one of the worst job markets we have seen in decades. And people are getting laid off left and right. And you're trying to get back in the job market. Now you could be out of work for months, or may still be out of work. And you're like, what did I do to deserve this? But this guy, right? And now he's getting a reward of $1 trillion potentially right there, rewards and things, incentives he has to hit to get that. But it's just like, why are we allowing this? Or why did those investors rather allow this to occur? And that really leads me to this point. This is my problem with Tesla investors. In my line of work, I kind of have to run into these people, right? And I have to cover what's good and bad about the stock market. If Tesla's good, we talk about it. We'll put it on a list, so on and so forth. If Elon does something, whether it's buying Twitter or does something with Doge and impacts the stock market or EV credits, like, we do have to talk about those things, because I have to be impartial about those things. Now, this is my opinion because we're just talking about Tesla and whether or not this makes sense. But in either case, I'm shooting you straight. This is weird. This is just weird because, again, in context, no one else would be allowed to do this because it does not actually make sense. And in no space does $1 trillion for one person make sense either, because also that signals that, wait, if something were to happen to him, would Tesla even be valuable at all should something happen to just Elon? Like, is this even a car company? Is it a tech company? Is it a company at all? Or is it just Elon? Like, is it just that? Because that is also a serious concern. I'm not even sure anymore, because there's so many things he said he wanted to do and had all these lofty goals and completely revises them. Going to Mars, the Boring Company, I mean, Doge in general, like, they set the bar extremely high, dumped them all together, flipped the board over, erased it, covered it up, and then investors just say, hey, whatever, it's Elon, we're going to continue to go with it anyway, and the stock just continues to go up. I think that's not a company, it's just Elon. And they just continue to funnel money towards him anyway. So should something happen to him, what is this? Like, what is this? Like, we're seeing somewhat of what's happening to Apple without Steve Jobs. They haven't necessarily invented anything new or revolutionary without him. It's going on, right? But it's not the same Apple that it used to, right? They haven't truly come out with anything beyond him. Reports were that the iPad was still his thing, and they just kind of lived off of the blueprint that he had, and then just kind of run off the service business. But I'm curious. I'm really curious as to what you guys think, and this is something I'm going to continue mulling over and thinking about, and I'm thinking out loud here, but this is more of an out loud thought and things I've been just trying to truly wrestle with and figure out, because it just doesn't truly make sense on no piece of paper, and there is no one else that we would allow this to happen. Because I'm telling you right now, the minute I could say Amazon or Apple or even Nvidia, immediately you know for a fact, Netflix, right? So subscriptions, devices, whatever, you spit out all of these things like, hey, this don't add up. It don't add up. But when it's Elon, it don't have to add up. And it's just like, but why? Right? So it's weird, it's puzzling. I just feel like those investors specifically will buy anything. And I'm not entirely sure why. So you want to know more about the stock market that actually makes sense at times, right? Anything else, you can check out these videos right here.